Have you ever really looked at your hand? I mean, really looked at it? It seems so solid, right? But what if I told you it's actually a bustling city, home to trillions of tiny individual living things? Well, today we're going to go microscopic to meet the real you, the cells that are the fundamental building blocks of, well, everything that lives and breathes.
Okay, to get our brains warmed up for this, let's start with a quick round of fact or bluff. It's simple. I'm going to give you a statement about your own body, and you just have to decide, is it true or am I totally making it up?
All right, here it is. Get this. Every single hour of every single day, you shed about 600,000 skin cells. Just poof, gone. We're talking enough to fill a little salt shaker every single day. So what do you think? Is that a mind-blowing fact or is it a complete bluff? It is 100% a fact. And you know, this perfectly sets the stage for what we're talking about today. Because that dust you're constantly cleaning up around your house, yeah, a big chunk of that, it used to be you. You were literally shedding parts of yourself right this second.
Okay, so that just established that we're all constantly losing these tiny little pieces of ourselves. But that brings up the big question. What exactly is a cell? What are these little things we're made of?
In the simplest terms, a cell is the smallest possible unit of life. You can think of it like a single Lego brick. You can't break that brick down any further and still have a Lego, but with enough of them, you can build just about anything, even a person. And here's the crucial thing to get. These tiny, microscopic structures, they do all the heavy lifting. The cells in your heart are working together to pump your blood. The cells in your stomach are busy digesting your food. Your red blood cells are carrying oxygen all over your body. Literally, every single thing that keeps you alive is being done by these tiny powerhouses. So, as scientists started studying these tiny structures, they found something amazing. It turns out that all cells, no matter where they come from, a plant, a person, a mushroom, they all play by the exact same set of rules. It's like a universal biological rule book, and it's called the cell theory. And these three rules are basically the bedrock of all modern biology. First, if something is alive, it is made of cells, period. Second, those cells are the basic units that do all the work. And that third one? Oh, that was a total game changer. For centuries, people believed in something called spontaneous generation. You know, the idea that life could just magically appear from blood or rotting meat. This rule proved that's not true. All life comes from other life. It's one unbroken chain stretching back billions of years. Now, what's really fascinating is how life took these basic building blocks and developed two completely different strategies for existing. You can pretty much think of it as life being split into two distinct teams. So, on one team, you've got the unicellular organisms. These are the ultimate solo acts. Just one single cell does everything. It eats, it moves, it reproduces, all by itself. But on the other team, you have us, the multicellular organisms, where trillions of specialized cells have to work together just to keep the whole show on the road. All right, time for a little pop quiz to see if you've been paying attention. Let's start with bacteria. Are they a one-cell show or are they a massive team? What do you think? You got it, unicellular. Bacteria are the classic example of a single-celled organism. In fact, they're the most abundant form of life on the entire planet. And every single one is a completely self-sufficient little survival machine. Okay, how about plants? Everything from a tiny blade of grass to a giant redwood tree. Are they made of just one cell or are they made of countless cells all working together? Absolutely multicellular. A plant is a perfect example of cellular teamwork. You've got root cells digging for water, leaf cells acting like tiny solar panels, and stem cells giving it all structure. Every single part has its own specialized job. And what about this little guy? The famous blob, the amoeba. Is it a single-celled soloist or a multicellular team? Yup, unicellular. The entire organism is just one single cell that can change its shape to move around and swallow its food. It's like a tiny living drop of jelly. Pretty amazing, right? All right, final one. And I'm going to throw you a curveball here. What about a virus? Is it unicellular or is it multicellular? Which team does it play for? Aha, it was a trick question. The answer is neither. Viruses aren't made of cells, which, if you remember our rulebook, means they aren't technically alive. It's better to think of them as tiny biological pirates that have to hijack living cells in order to reproduce.
So this really sums it all up, right? The two great strategies for life on Earth. You have the single-cell soloists on one side, and on the other, you have the complex teams like insects and animals and us, all built from billions upon billions of cooperating cells.
Okay, so we've covered what cells are, the rules they live by, and the two main teams they form. But let's bring this all home. What's the big takeaway? Why does understanding this tiny, tiny world matter so much?
Well, when it comes down to it, understanding cells really means understanding the very essence of life itself. From the simplest little bacterium to a giant blue whale, it all comes back to these tiny units. And maybe the most mind-blowing fact of all is that you, with all of your trillions of specialized cells, you started out as just one.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to ponder. The first great leap in complexity happened when single cells learned how to team up to become multicellular life. So it makes you wonder, what's the next great cooperative leap for life on this planet? I'll let you think on that.